Welcome to an introduction to PHP, a programming language that can be easily learned with a background in coding. First, we'll take a look at a background of PHP as a language, and then we'll get into some good syntax to know.
Originally created by Rasmus Lerdorf in 1994 in the C programming language, he made it so that he could monitor his online resume and other personal information. Because of this, PHP originally stood for Personal Homepage. PHP became more widely used when PHP 3 was released in 1998. PHP 4 overhauled the system again in 2000 and released a new engine called Zen Engine 1.0. PHP 5 was released in 2004 and it had an even faster engine and more features. PHP 6 has been in development since 2006. PHP is typically used by web developers to make websites more interactive. PHP is a server-side language. What this means is that if you looked at the source code on a website, you wouldn't see any of the PHP code. You would only see HTML because all the processing done is on the website server. PHP works best when paired with MySQL, HTML, and/or JavaScript. If you pair it with MySQL, you can use databases to manipulate information. All of this information can then be added to a web page, creating endless possibilities in terms of functionality. The quickest way to get started with PHP is to use the open source package XAMPP. It comes preloaded with Apache Web Server, MySQL database, and database admin panel, phpMyAdmin. Installing Notepad+ is recommended to make coding PHP easier since it helps you format the syntax. To begin coding, open the control panel and click the Start button in Apache and MySQL rows, and save the files with the PHP extension so they can be opened later. PHP supports a wide range of databases and can support virtually any operating system or web server. It can use procedural programming, object-oriented programming, or even a hybrid of both. It is compatible with other services because it can communicate through many different computer languages. Control statements should have one space between the control keyword and the opening parentheses to distinguish them from function calls. You are strongly encouraged to always use curly braces, even in situations where they are technically optional. A switch statement is a type of selection control mechanism used to allow the value of a variable or expression to change the control flow of program execution via a multi-way branch. To print statements, you can either use the print or the echo function. This line would print, "This is PHP." PHP does not require or support explicit type definition and variable declaration. A variable's type is determined by its contents. Double quotes display strings along with the values assigned to variables. Single quotes treat whole statements as a string and only display variables. This is how to comment out lines. This is how to signify the PHP code within your HTML program. Set arrays work the same way they would in a list. Indexing is also available in PHP. You can also create associative arrays and create nest arrays inside associative arrays. Functions should be called with no spaces between the function name, the opening parentheses, and the first parameter, spaces between commas in each parameter, and no space between the last parameter, the closing parentheses, and the semicolon.
PHP is an intuitive, server-side scripting language. Like any other scripting language, it allows developers to build logic into the creation of web page content and handle data returned from a web browser. PHP also contains a number of extensions that make it easy to interact with databases, extracting data to be displayed on a web page, and storing information entered by a website visitor back into the database. Happy coding!